Hello, everybody. It's better? Okay. Before I rant about my favorite left-wing financier. Okay, thank you, Bev. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the August meeting for Act for America, the Cleveland chapter. I'm your chapter leader, Dan Ramada. And I'd like to say welcome, fellow nativists, racists, xenophobes, Islamophobes, haters, yada, yada, yada. Now that we got that out of the way, we can get down to business. Next slide. Greg's taking a nap. There we go. Okay, George Soros, the ultimate puppet master. There's so much we could do a whole week-long program on this particular character. He's responsible for the Muslim migration and for stopping all those who criticize it, Muslim migration and Islam in general. He funded a propaganda campaign that began at DC. It was a rally that happened yesterday. It was not well attended, but he put up jumbotrons, he played for big professional banners, etc. Brought in all these people, all kinds of porta potties and water from. And there's pictures online. If you go on Breitbart, you'll see it wasn't very well attended. But he's the one financing and trying to basically pull a smokescreen over people's eyes. Most of the public is against. We call them Syrian refugees, but they are much more than that. We are bringing Muslims in from all around the world who are masquerading as refugees and going on benefits, and they're going to aim at some point to cause jihad, many of them, and even a small portion of them with the Muslim Brotherhood infrastructure set up in our country. This is only serious to enable the Muslim Brotherhood plan for America to succeed. Is there anybody that's new here? First meeting. Oh, very good. About 30 people. Okay, so I don't have time to delve too much into that plan, but I'll catch you up if you want to send me an email. I'll send you some information specifics to that plan, what it is, and who are these people. We'll delve into that a little bit tonight with our guest, Phil Haney. But I'm going to talk about a different track right now. Another problem, something I never guessed. When I got involved in this and heard Brigitte speak in Boulder, Pennsylvania in November 2012 and decided to get involved with Act for America, I thought this was going to be a no-brainer. I thought it's just a matter of people finding out. Little did I know that the Democratic Party would be so far gone to the left. I was never involved in politics, never really paid attention, to be honest with you, that they would actually fight on behalf of these people and actually fight on behalf of the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't have some of the videos, that we just don't have the time for that. But in editorials, people in the Washington Post writing articles, disputing everything that we talk about. And the people like Frank Gaffney and Claire Lopez and Clifford May, Phil Haney, General Flynn, anybody who talks about all the experts. So, well, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to make it common knowledge, keep bringing in speakers, experts to talk and convince many people, and hopefully you articulate all of this with your friends and your family and fellow Democrats who don't know any better, that how they're being duped and how their kids are being endangered. Okay, next slide. Last November, we showed a movie called Agenda 2: Masters of Deceit. It was done by Curtis Powers. He's an Idaho state representative, former Idaho state representative. He did Agenda 1 and Agenda 2. These things won documentaries of the year. They talk about global governance and how everything's being funneled through the UN, how the UN is behind a lot of the things like Common Core, Agenda 21, name names. I have a couple of the posters over there that are explain all the different organizations that are involved in this global socialism that the global elites want. So we started with that last November. Just a quick review of what this chapter has put on. Next slide. In January, we had a Skype interview with Bethany Blankley, a person who used to work as a staffer in Congress, and she told us all about, she's been following the Islam, Common Core, and the morphing of one world education, which is one of the goals of that agenda that Curtis Powers was talking about. Next slide. In February, another Skype conversation with Chris Holton, who works for Frank Gaffney and Claire Lopez at the Center for Security Policy, all about Sharia finance. We've only had one meeting on this. We will definitely have more. This is basically Muslims getting on boards of corporations and then determining things have to be run at corporation with certain bits of Sharia in it. And then there's Sharia banking. There's a lot of this going on. This is a way for Sharia to slip into a society. Next slide. In March, we have Ryan Morrow from the Clarion Project, who's on Bob France's show every week, a national security expert. We get a lot of information from him. Happens to be friends with Phil Haney, just found that out. Next slide. In May, Brigitte Gabriel was here, Columbus, and Cincinnati as well. We had 800 people in this room to hear her. She's the founder of Act for America. She explained a little bit about the Muslim Brotherhood's plan for America that night, how to subvert our society. They're 25 years into this plan. Next slide. In June, we had Jim Simpson. He also works at the Center for Security Policy. As you seem to find out now, this is the #1 organization we work with. He's in charge of refugee resistance. We get a lot of information from him, all about the refugees and the Red Green Access, the Refugees, Immigration, and Agenda to Race America. He had a book. We still have that book for sale, but he's in charge of refugee resistance movement in the country, which there is a growing movement. He travels the country. He's talking to the people in Twin Falls, Idaho. Did you know that we've already had 3 refugees causing rapes in Idaho? We had a 5-year-old girl raped orally and anally in Twin Falls, Idaho, a couple months ago. Oh, you didn't hear about it on the media, did you? No, of course not. Because George Soros controls the media. Next slide. General Flynn was here in July. Okay, he's going to be involved in the Trump administration. He was, if you happen to notice, when Trump had his press conference at the National Security Press Conference, a few days after, maybe it was about a week or so ago, Rudy Giuliani was in the room, sitting at his right hand, right next to him on his right-hand side was General Flynn. He was in this room in July. Next slide. Ann Corcoran was with us via Skype last year. This is like one of the leading experts on refugee resistance or resettlement in the country. She's been exposing it. She wrote a book called Hijra, Refugee Resettlement and the Hijra to America. She continues to work very hard. She was up in Twin Falls, Idaho, working with those people, working with the Act for America chapter leader, trying to get to the bottom of that on behalf of the parents. That case in Idaho, the local media actually turned on the family for reporting it. And they called the Act for America chapter in town, who came to that woman's assistance, the mother's assistance. They called them a hate group and all that stuff. That's just why I started the meeting out this way, to let you know what we're in for. Next slide. Israel is the ultimate form of jihad. Let's face it, the jihad can't happen if they're not here. That makes it as simple as we can make it. That is the ultimate form. Muhammad told his followers, go and spread Islam, and that's what they're doing. So it's on. The global jihad, the global hijra is on. Next slide. Okay, we're going to watch a quick video here. One of the things we do, we're 4 years into this chapter now, and Bev and I have gone around the state of Ohio, given many dozens of presentations, and we have meetings, and we have a few emails, informational emails. Most of it's about meetings, etc. But at the meetings, we'll show videos of Muslims in our society, leaders, people associated with the Muslim Brotherhood, in their own words. So this is what we like to do, so let's watch this next video. There's a Kansas imam talking about changing society in Sioux Falls.
The Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization banned in numerous countries. Membership, association, or influence is a possible indicator of extremism. The four-finger hand gesture represents the Muslim Brotherhood.
Let's understand our society in this locality. Let me ask you this. How many Muslims in Sioux Falls? About 4,000. Okay. America is the best society, by the way, for dawah. Let's put an objective here. Let's say this year we are 4,000. What about next year? Everybody take a year and just bring one Muslim. So it'll be 8,000. Right? And then the next year, the after year, we are 8. Become 16,000. I'm not taking bring the Muslim from outside, no. Make the Muslim reach out to those people. Yesterday I gave a lecture in Brookings. They're looking for you, to educate them. And as a Muslim, wallahi, you will feel in conveying the dawah. Because I tell you what, even if you convey the dawah now, we don't have any institute to follow those new Muslims, to educate them and nurture them and make sure that they understand Islam properly. And they merge with you, became Greek Muslim, like me and Jew and so forth, understand Greek Islam. Wallahi ya akhi, you won't imagine. They will be better than me and better than you. Because they understand this society. They understand how they change it. And that's what we need, to let them understand Islam. And they will get the message. And they have more motivation than you and me. Because they're brothers and sisters and wives and fathers and so forth. They care about them. So if they understand it, they will continue. And imagine in 10 years, this society, Sheikh Dr. Hisham, multiply, every year you are doubling. I'm talking about exponential. There will be, now we have 1 or 2 masajid, maybe you will have every corner a masjid. They will build it. Don't worry about it. They will build it. Wallahi, I'm not dreaming. But this is reality. Let's put the Egypt, I don't want to talk about, go to Egypt and change it. Go to Syria and change it. No, how can change it? You are here, your duty to work in this community. You have to understand. First, we have to have one idea. We want to change at least this society. Start with the idea. Now we have 4,000. Want to make it like in 10 years, 100,000. Whatever. Let's make put an objective. Put an objective. In 10 years, you make 50,000. Put an objective. Make it reasonable. 50,000. We are 4,000 right now. It will happen. How can I affect people? Wallahi, it will take every minute to talk to them about Islam. In a nice way. I show them my good example. I will be truthful with them. You see, I help them. I take care of their things. They will come to Islam. Wallahi. They will ask you, why are you doing here? Because I love you. Wallahi, tell them, I love you for the humanities. Because that's our principle. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْتُ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Our message is mercy to all human beings. They will change their idea about Islam. Now Islam and terrorists is just like that. So they change the idea. This is what Islam can do. They said in the news and so forth, Islam is terrorist. No, we tell them Islam is mercy. And we love you. So open your hearts to them, to rescue them from the hellfire. We are not benefiting from anybody becoming Muslim. No. Our message to rescue them from the hellfire. He said, أَنْقَذْتُ نَفْسًا مِنَ النَّارِ. And that's his message. So the message really to care about those people. And wallahi, they are so open-minded to that. So we have to do it. In my opinion, make a seminar how to convey the da'wah. Because we have to learn the latest way how to do that. And many scholars talk about it, Sheikh Ahmed, for example, many other people talk about the da'wah. They are expert how they reach the non-Muslim.
I don't make the videos, I just pick them. Okay, so the Muslim Brotherhood avatar, their hand sign is this. So here's an imam saying be peaceful, be nice, etc. But in the meantime, he's out at the rallies promoting the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood worked with the Nazis in World War II, in case anybody needs to remember that. Very interesting talking point when talking to others. Muslim Brotherhoods will be painted as a very innocent organization. That's what's coming. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so why are the globalists doing what they're doing? Why are they encouraging all of this Muslim immigration through the UN? It's Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. We talked about this a little bit, and we talked about it with that movie, video, Masters of Deceit. Agenda 2, Masters of Deceit. Agenda 21, sustainability, climate change. They're creating a whole new utopia for all of us. Next slide. Building inclusive and secure communities, AKA forcing Muslims on non-Muslims populations. Next slide. Again, George Soros and the Open Society is behind this, as well as Peter Sutherland and a few other people you're going to find out about in October. Next slide. This is Tom DeWeese, who's been traveling the country. Many of you might have seen him talk at a previous Tea Party or somewhere. He's one of the experts on Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. I just happened to see him in Lorraine County a couple weeks ago. He was talking about affirmative, affordable, fair housing, another program, Obama zones, basically bringing, changing our neighborhoods and suburbs. Next slide. He happens to be friends with this guy. Somebody I read his book last year called Technocracy Rising. Patrick Wood lives in Arizona, and he has a website, Technocracy Rising, Technocracy News, and a Trojan horse of global transformation. He talks about all of this in depth. Common Core, Agenda 21, smart meters, the whole shot. This is the end game of the globalists, the global elites, the Bilderbergs, the Party of Davos, the World Economic Forum, saw that behind Soros when he was talking about it. He will be our Skype guest. He lives in Arizona, and he happens to be good friends with Tom DeWeese. Just found that out about a month ago, but I've been talking to him for the last few months. I've read his book. It's frightening. It's staggering. We'll have those books here for sale, even though it's going to be a Skype conversation, and we're going to get them at a discount. So I highly encourage, first of all, thank you for using Eventbrite once again, and because I'm sure we're going to need it, we're going to use it again for a Skype presentation. Monday, October 10th happens to be Columbus Day. But we didn't have a lot of options, so that's worked out with his schedule and our schedule. That'll be our next meeting. Okay, in the meantime, next slide. Let's watch a video, a little explanation from him about technocracy.
Hello, my name is Patrick Wood. Today, I want to give you 5 reasons to purchase my new book, Technocracy Rising, The Trojan Horse of Global Transformation. Have you sensed that something is drastically wrong with the American economy? Or wondered why the executive branch of our government has apparently neutered Congress? How about the shocking loss of privacy thanks to massive gathering of data on American citizens by the U.S. intelligence community? Are you concerned about the militarization of our nation's police force? Does the constant droning over climate change and sustainable development give you a headache? Well, let me tell you that all of these things and more are being implemented together as part of a single ideology called technocracy. That's right, not socialism, not communism, and not fascism. It's technocracy. It is rapidly transforming the world under names like climate change, sustainable development, Agenda 21, and green economy. I have been researching, writing, and speaking about globalization and the global elite for almost 40 years. In the late 1970s, I co-authored Trilaterals Over Washington, Volumes 1 and 2, with the late Professor Anthony Sutton. At the time, our books were the definitive analysis of the Trilateral Commission, which was founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski. The Trilateral Commission stated that it wanted to foster a new international economic order. That's their words, not mine. We thought this was to be a rehash of capitalism. While they did manipulate the existing economic order to greatly benefit their own interests, our interpretation of the word new was simply inadequate. And I'll tell you why. It was not until just a few years ago that I discovered a movement from the 1930s called technocracy. It was a large movement in the United States and Canada with over 500,000 members at one time. It took me several years of original research to realize that technocracy was the intended meaning of the word new and the Trilateral Commission's new international economic order. So, what is technocracy? Well, technocracy was defined as a replacement economic system for capitalism and free enterprise, based on energy instead of supply and demand and price-based economics. It was designed by a group of prominent scientists and engineers who were associated mostly with Columbia University and the New School for Social Research in New York City. These scientists and engineers believed that they could use their scientific method to run society much more efficiently than politicians and legislators. They promised to end war, alleviate poverty, hunger, and disease, and bring lifelong learning and economic prosperity for all. As such, it was nothing less than a promise of utopia. It is shocking to see almost identical language today with the United Nations goals for sustainable development. And I quote, "End poverty in all its forms everywhere. End hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development." Close quote. Indeed, the same utopian shell game that was played in the 1930s is being played out again today. But it doesn't end there. The Executive Secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change is Christiana Figueres. She recently let slip the real reason for climate change and sustainable development that is being implemented all over the planet. And she said, and I quote, "This is the first time in the history of mankind that we are setting ourselves the task of intentionally, within a defined period of time, to change the economic development model that has been reigning for at least 150 years since the Industrial Revolution. Of course, the only economic system reigning for the last 150 years is capitalism and free enterprise. This is the system that is to be replaced." Figueres and the United Nations are dead serious about this. She calls it deep transformation, meaning that the entire fabric of the global economy, societal institutions, and political governance is being radically transformed. Now, if you're thinking that the rest of the world can do what it wants, but America is still America, then you still don't quite get it. The fact is, America is the only thing left in the way of total global transformation. And that is exactly why our nation is under such attack from within and from without, to destroy the last remaining semblance of national sovereignty and independent thinking. Americans are like thorns in the side of the global elite and must be removed if the utopian dream is to be realized. The fact is, America is fighting for its very life, and we're under siege from many sides. For all the political battles fought in the last 40 years, we're much worse off today than ever before. This is not the future that Americans want, but it is the future Americans are going to get unless they take drastic and immediate action today to reject technocracy. With all this in mind, let me give you 5 reasons to read Technocracy Rising, the Trojan Horse of Global Transformation. Number 1, if you don't know who the enemy is, you cannot possibly win the war. Technocracy Rising clearly shows you chapter by chapter exactly who the enemy is. Number 2, if you don't know the enemy's strategy, you cannot possibly defeat it. Technocracy Rising clearly lays out the strategy of technocracy and its means of implementation. Reason number 3, those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. Technocracy Rising gives you documented proof of historic technocracy, its champions, and its philosophy. Reason 4, you must see the big picture in order to correctly see the pieces of the puzzle. Technocracy Rising connects all the dots between the Trilateral Commission and Agenda 21, climate change, sustainable development, biodiversity, government land grabs, green economy, cap and trade tax, common core education standards, smart grid, runaway surveillance of all Americans, councils of governments and regionalization, public-private partnerships, destructive trade agreements like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, reinventing government, green faiths, and much more. Reason number 5, you must be equipped to take effective action. Technocracy Rising gives you an abundance of necessary resources with over 250 footnotes and an extensive bibliography. In summary, America must reject technocracy and its perpetrators. It is a clear and present danger that has the momentum and the resources to sweep America into the dustbin of history. I invite you to purchase 1 or more copies of Technocracy Rising, the Trojan Horse of Global Transformation, and read it at your earliest opportunity. Perhaps you will agree with other previous readers that this is the must-read book of 2015. Thank you for listening. To purchase your own copy of Technocracy Rising, please go to www.technocracyrising.com.
Okay, so he'll be our Skype guest on Monday, October 10th. We'll have his books available at a discount. And again, it'll be a Skype conversation. But you're going to want to be here. Just trust me on this. You're going to want to be here. Everybody has to say. In the meantime, back to the Muslim Brotherhood Plan for America. We have to deal with the Islamists and the sympathizers, progressives in both political parties that are enabling this agenda to proceed. They said they would destroy us from within, and that's what they're trying to do. Next slide. You've seen this email go around with these 6 individuals working in the Obama administration. There were many more. The guy on the left, only because I called out the Democrats. The second guy on the right, only because I called out the Democrats. And this is for the benefit of some of our new people who haven't heard this before. Mohammed Ali Diari used to be involved with the Department of Homeland Security. He's a Republican from Texas. and he was a delegate for John McCain in 2008. So it affects both parties. By the way, he was asked to leave when he was doing the Muslim Brotherhood Twitter avatar on his Twitter handle and talking about the caliphates here, America, get over it. He was asked to leave. But the rest of these guys are still doing damage inside the Obama administration, and we're going to find out about what they've done tonight. Next slide. Congressman Michelle Bachmann in 2012 tried to point this out, tried to get an investigation of the Muslim Brotherhood's infiltration in our government, and she was vilified by fellow Republicans, John McCain and Jen Boehner. Why is that? Next slide. There you go. The most dangerous woman in the White House is not the one on top. Okay, we've seen the damage Valerie Jarrett has done, and this next possible chief of staff, Luma Abedin, you have one handout on her, but there's much more available on this woman. She will have big problems if she's allowed to be involved in the White House. Next slide. Our guest tonight is Phil Hayne. Let me read you his bio. Philip has 40 years experience in strategy and tactics of the global Islamic movement based on Quranic Arabic with parallel strong forces on counterterrorism. 30 years experience in international travel, 20-some countries, from China to Europe and Central and South America, but with particular emphasis in the Middle East. Founding member of the Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection in March of 2003, retired with 15 years of federal service in July of 2015. Deep experience in threat analysis and intelligence while serving as a CBP officer, conducted numerous interviews of individuals with potential links to terrorism, credited with many cases in finding 300 individuals with potential links to terrorism at the National Targeting Center. Additional deep background in research and data analysis using case study approach to diagnose problems. Numerous TV and radio appearances, including guest host for the Sean Hannity show, and has appeared many times before Congress. Numerous publications and cited both as a former scientist in the counterterrorism field. Phil has extensive familiarity with Arabic, the Middle Eastern culture, politics, and the religion of Islam, including the Quran. He's adept at learning languages and adept at developing relationships with people of other cultures. In fact, I'm Slovak, and we hit about the lunch earlier. Professional consultant for local, national, and international clients in both private and government arenas since 1984. He's a current member of the Association of Former Intelligence Officers, otherwise known as AFIO, and the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association. Would you give it, please, a nice Northeast Ohio welcome to Philip Hayne.